You're my new best friend. Hello everybody, I'm Garrulous64, and I have finally seen the light. Sonic 2 is the greatest video game ever made. Which is what I would say if I believed that, but I don't. It's definitely better than Sonic 1, though. Sure, in the past, I was certain it was the other way around, but this time when I played it, it was from the perspective of someone who played the games back-to-back as opposed to taking a big break in between. And this time, of course, my Sonic 1 criticisms were very fresh on my mind, and Sonic 2, to my surprise, pretty much remedied every single one. Now, before we talk about the second best classic Sonic game, yes, it's not the best in my opinion, I wanted to ask you a question first. What do you like more, Sonic 1 or Sonic 2, and why? Please tell me in the comments down below, and I'm going to pick out my favorite response and show it in next week's video. Speaking of which, this comment from last week made by Sam here really resonated with me because I remember the feeling, too, of seeing that original trailer after I'd read the leaked synopsis of the thing, like, a while back, and I was like, you know, Gangster's Paradise of a Sonic movie trailer, like, that's so stupid that it's probably real. And then it was, and, like, I just needed a minute, you know? Like, I think we all kind of collectively had to take a step back. And this is the part of the video where I ask that if you're enjoying my videos, and this one so far, please make sure to leave a like, and also watch all the way through to the end so you don't miss anything. Also, if you really enjoy that, make sure you hit the subscribe button and click the bell, and everything's gonna be really cool, thank you! So our story begins in 1992, where only a year after Sonic 1, Sonic 2 hit shelves, and collectively I believe everyone in the universe just kicked Sonic 1 to the curb. Let's just look at the facts real quick, okay? Like, Sonic 2 is longer than Sonic 1, Sonic 2 gave the Chaos Emeralds an actual use that is definitely worth going for, it introduced Tails the Fox, who is an ultra-popular character to this very day, even though, you know, he doesn't really do anything in the modern games anymore. And would you look at that right there? What do we need Sonic 1 for? It doesn't even have the best Green Hill level anymore. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you Emerald Hill Zone. And yes, Sonic Team, we do know that that's just a synonym for green. Nice try. Much like in Sonic 1, this stage introduces you to your moveset and also the concepts of speed and momentum, which thankfully, unlike in Sonic 1, they are actually a lot more present, as opposed to being like that one weird relative you see only once a year at Christmas. Yeah, thank you, that was totally worth going through Labyrinth Zone for. New to Sonic 2, unless you played any port of Sonic 1 whatsoever, is the Spin Dash, which, if you know anything about me, I think the Drop Dash is the best thing since sliced bread. So basically, when this first came out, it must have been the best thing since, sliced Tamagotchis? Aside from the aforementioned green connection, I've also heard that this name might also be in reference to that you can collect all 7 emeralds in Emerald Hill if you know what you're doing, and let me be the first to say, that ain't me. But imagine my surprise when I entered the special stage after collecting 50 rings and passing the checkpoint, and I retried it because, you know, I'm not good at the special stages, and when I left the special stage, the entire stage reset, and I was just able to grind out all 7 emeralds in Emerald Hill Act 1. And some might call this cheating, but I don't care, I call it leveling the playing field. One reason I didn't like this game before is because of the special stages themselves. This is the start of the half-pipe craze that hit the Sonic Nation like a huge wave of sadness and boredom. From that point on, it was like just as overused as Green Hill in my opinion. I really wouldn't call these things special stages. I see them more as trial and error stages, and in my opinion, that's almost never fun. Like, my problem here lies with the fact that when you go into these things for the first time, you don't know where these rings are going to be, and it feels really hit or miss as to whether or not you're going to actually be able to accomplish it on your first try. And if you can't get it on your first shot, you gotta go collect 50 rings again outside, find a different checkpoint, and you gotta hold those rings the whole time until you get there. And in most cases, that is not a very easy thing to do, because sometimes stuff will just fly at you from off screen, or like you'll just get crushed to death randomly, and it's not really my idea of fun. Being able to retry the special stages like this in the Christian Whitehead version sort of evokes the same feelings for me as the Mega Man Zero and ZX collections. Both of these ports take something that's incredibly trial and error heavy and turns it into something that you can retry very quickly so it minimizes frustration as much as possible. Obviously for Sonic 2 I'm talking about the special stages, being able to retry them over and over again until you actually memorize the patterns, and it's the exact same thing in Zero and ZX, where you can just keep doing those boss encounters instead of being reset to the start of the level every time you die 4 times. I cannot tell you how frustrating that was in the original Zero collection, and I still have no idea how I managed to beat those games when I was younger. I have no clue. I have no patience anymore. As for the thing about starting the level entirely over and just getting every emerald in Act 1, that, I will agree, is some super cheese, but you know what? Raise your hand if you don't like cheese. Yeah, that's what I thought. Literally no one. This had the added benefit for me of actually letting me enjoy my playthrough instead of having to worry about getting the emeralds in harder locations. And of course, you also get the benefit of Supersonic, but since I knew it was a little bit cheap the way I did it, I tried to not use Supersonic that much. Though, you know, it is very easy to activate him by mistake, and, you know, he doesn't really stop you from being a terrible player everywhere in the game. So, I thought it was at least a little bit balanced. Oh, hey look, next up, that's the place I have nightmares about. Chemical Plant is our first water level of the game, sort of. It's like most of the time you're safe above water, but like, on occasion, it's like, you better hope you haven't walked under any ladders lately or else you're dying for real. I'm gonna say something possibly controversial here. I think Chemical Plant is actually even more iconic than Green Hill was in Sonic 1. But as they keep reusing it, it sort of starts to lose its luster until, like, we get this, and it's like, I don't even know what happened to it here. Like, why does it look so bland and boring and watered down? Like, is it because it had to match everything else in the game? Wow, that was a burn, I think. I also respect Chemical Plant Zone more than Marble Zone, because even though it's slower than Emerald Hill as a whole, I was never quite as bored to tears as I was back when I was playing Sonic 1. There was no time to be bored, I was too busy being anxious. Ain't that the story of my life. I also remember this boss being a little bit easier on the Genesis version, because you could wedge yourself in between Eggman and the wall. But, you know, I guess widescreen gaming is a little bit of a blessing and a curse. So Aquatic Ruins, I don't like very much, but it's still a lot better than Labyrinth Zone. I just really don't like water levels in general. One thing I really don't like about this level is that I seem to get hit by a lot of tiny projectiles that are hard to see, and also sometimes just even come off from on screen. But the water segments, I think I actually got pretty lucky this time around, because typically the bubbles will wait until Sonic's lungs fill to maximum capacity before they show up like a millisecond too late. But, you know, I think it's just, I've been on this earth breathing for so long, I feel like I'm kind of good at it now, so maybe they just respect me more. The boss fight at the end of this is actually pretty cool in my opinion. I like how they take something that you're familiar with from earlier in the level and they use it in a different way, specifically for the purpose of bullying Dr. Robotnik, like, get exploded, nerd! Switching it up from one of my least favorite stages to my favorite stage, it's Gambling Zone. This is not realistic in the slightest though, because no one's offered me an overpriced drink and I don't hate myself for losing $40 at a blackjack table. Yeah, that's a real thing that happened and I still am not over it. You know how long you have to work to make $40? From the colorful environments to the bumpin' tunes, there's really not anything I dislike about this stage, and I really think it's the best casino stage in the entire franchise, but let's be honest, there are not a lot of very good competitors. Hilltop Zone is next up in the spotlight, and I don't love it, but I don't hate it. I mean, that's more than I can say about a lot of the zones in Sonic 1, though. It's a little bit slower than previous stages, but you're never outright stopped in your tracks in too many places, which I appreciate. And anytime we have to use these lifts, they're not exactly mandatory, I would say, so just take a leap of faith and maybe that'll lift your spirits. I think the bright blue on the hills here is really nice to look at, and it's even more eye-catching once you get to the spicier parts of the level, and you know what they say, if you can't handle the spice, get out of the lava zone, idiot! Now, not only does Sonic 2 have 2 water levels that are more than passable, but it also has a cave level that is pretty great. And honestly, I don't know, when you think of caves, I don't really think of wide open areas that are good for building up speed, and that rings true about Mystic Cave, but it never quite reached the level of annoyance for me that Marble Zone and Labyrinth Zone did. There are also a lot of switches and slow level elements that you need to deal with, so honestly, I would say this is probably the closest thing to Sonic 1's level design that's in this game. And of course, at this point, I think most Sonic fans would probably jump to talking about that dreaded spike pit that even Super Sonic sees in his nightmares. But since Christian Whitehead is a genius, instead of a temporary soft lock, we now have Hidden Palace Zone. This is a one-act resurrection of an unused Sonic 2 stage with its own unique enemies and music. It sort of reminds me a little bit of Labyrinth Zone in terms of aesthetics and level design, but it feels a little bit more like Labyrinth Zone done right. Also part of this balanced breakfast is an entirely new boss fight. This is apparently where Eggman goes to practice the tuba when nobody's around, and he is so bad at everything he does that he's literally bringing down the house, which is not the way you usually want to do that. It's usually more of a figurative thing. Also, one thing to note, playing this zone skips the rest of Mystic Cave Act 2, so make sure to pick your poison. Speaking of poison, here's Oil Ocean Zone, which is a poison on this entire franchise. Like, I don't even like this zone in Mania. I feel like it's actually even worse because of Act 2, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself now. I guess I could say it looks really nice at least, but you know, bright and appealing things like that will usually kill you if you're not careful, so please do not eat. Why do I eat gummy bears then? Gummy bears are really colorful. I eat those. I'm a hypocrite. The gimmicks are really what kill it here for me. Like, I really don't like the oil that makes you travel at a snail's pace. I get that that's a penalty for falling down there in the first place, but the entire rest of the stage is really slow and boring as well, so why am I just being punished as a whole for just playing the game? The boss fight is at least really easy to cheese though, and I mean, that's not really a surprise to me at this point, because let's be honest, this egg is just not all he's cracked up to be. And finally, we have reached Metropolis Zone, a zone that is infamous, of course, for its level layout and enemies. I mean, who could forget slicers and asterons? I definitely can't. I see them every time I close my eyes. I haven't blinked in 6 days. Once again, one-upping its predecessor, Metropolis Zone aims to be exactly like Scrap Brain Zone, except it's about like 100 times better. You're constantly on the move here, and since most of these gimmicks work on cycles, it's really satisfying to blast through at just the right time before a spear becomes acquainted with Sonic's carotid artery. This is also the only stage that has 3 acts, so it sort of overstays its welcome since none of the stages really do enough to differentiate themselves from each other. But who cares? It caps off with a really easy boss fight again before the game is over. Psych! It's Sky Chase. More like Y Chase. Or Cry Chase. Or Dry Chase. I really don't have enough rhymes in my brain to describe how much I hate auto-scrollers, so let's just move on. Sky Chase delivers you to Flying Battery Zone, which is not actually the name of the zone, it's actually Wing Fortress, and I just keep saying Flying Battery by mistake. The zone starts with Tails getting shot down, and he just kind of like doesn't even react to it, he just kind of accepts his fate. But honestly, his fate's a little bit better than ours, because we actually have to play the zone. So if you like vertical platforming, that when you mess up, you fall back down, you gotta redo chunks of level over and over again, this is your stage. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. It's not fun, but at least it's only 1 act. Because then Sonic gets some help from Tails, who is not dead. Thank goodness. Oh, I didn't see that coming. He jumps onto a space shuttle and exits the atmosphere for what felt like 20 minutes while I was sitting there. I thought the game crashed, actually, while I was waiting for it to happen. And then finally, we are at the end of the game. Sonic just goes into space, and he freezes into an ice cube, and he shatters, and that's it. It's over. Dead. Okay, I was just joking, but you know, now we're in Star Wars reference zone, and what is here for you waiting? It is 2 bosses, 0 rings, uh-oh, which is what I would say if you couldn't cheese both of these bosses really hard yet again. It kind of felt a little bit like a Mega Man game to me, because I was like dying a million times trying to figure out how these things worked, but then once I figured out how they worked and got some advice from some of my buddies, well, the Silver Sonic fight is over in like 10 seconds, because it's just like spin dash, spin dash, spin dash, jump, done, explode, haha. And then the Death Egg Robot fight is like, why was I even scared of you? Like, you can't even hit me if I time my spin dashes right. Like, the AI just doesn't do anything. It's kind of hilarious. With that, Sonic trashes the Doctor's plans yet again, and lives to run through whatever green hills might await him in the future. Players of the Christian Whitehead version can then go back and play the game as either Tails or Knuckles, but no amount of awkward special stage sprites for Knuckles will get me to do that. Sonic 2 is 100% better than the first game, and there is no doubt in my mind about that anymore. But that's got me wondering, do you guys think that the Sonic 2 movie will be better than the first one as well, or do you think it's doomed to crash and burn? Because for once, I think I'm going to do the opposite of what a Sonic fan usually does, and I am going to be hopeful. Feel free to let me know in the comments below what you think about that, and also, after the movie comes out, feel free to come back and tell me I was wrong if I was wrong. But you know, maybe I won't be wrong, because being positive is cool! It's way past cool. I hate everything. I hate this. Goodbye. And with that, another video comes to a close. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like this video and you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe, click the bell, follow my Twitter, and join the Discord to keep up with more Sonic things and other things that aren't Sonic things, because I do a lot of things. Also, if you made it to this point in the video, feel free to let me know down in the comments. I always like seeing who actually makes it. It's like you're in an exclusive club that nobody else is in, except for the other people that made it to the end of the video. But anyway, I would also like to give a huge thank you to my current supporters, who are Kaido the Samurai, Danny Lee Dauber, Mike TGC, Chaotic Mercenary, Raiden Still Plays, Crystal, PM13, Crazy Sean DX, Chaos, Zealous Indolent, Jeremy, Lucas the Tall Man, Mega Traffic Cone, and everyone else who's supporting me in the $1 tiers. Remember, even $1 helps a lot and gets you access to everything that everyone else gets, such as blooper episodes and exclusive stuff in the Discord. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.